This world just hates me. In the city, everything went on as usual, and everything was calm, as always. The children walked with their parents and talked about all sorts of things, until he appeared, the man everyone hated. Children were forbidden to even look in his direction, and talking to him was considered a real disgrace. The mere sight of it made people sick. And all because of his occupation, from which the nickname came. A collector of corpses. He heard this every day and had even gotten used to it. As usual, he headed to the building where items could be sold. As soon as the shop owner saw him, his face immediately changed. He asked why he came here again. People left almost immediately, not wanting to be near him. He poured claws and some feathers onto the table. The old man looked and, as usual, there was only trash there, nothing valuable. For this, he gave him 3 bronze coins and told him to get lost. The corpse collector tried to object, as it wasn't even half the usual price, but he was quickly made to understand that he deserved no more. The main danger in this world is monsters. However, there are also those who hunt these monsters, adventurers. High-ranking adventurers mine expensive materials and fight monsters every day, and they increase the level, and even a slight difference in it gives a huge difference in strength. The level is the basis of this world, and he only had his first one. Our main character's name was Ark, and he was considered a scum in this world. Ark, as always, came to the market to buy food, and he went to his grandfather, from whom he always takes bread. Every day he left him a little bread that he hadn't managed to sell and simply gave away. Ark didn't even think about complaining, because without his grandfather, he wouldn't have survived at all. Before leaving, he asked him if maybe it was time for him to quit his job as an adventurer. Perhaps he can find another calling. But Ark said he couldn't do that because he was a notorious corpse collector. He always dreamed of becoming an adventurer to protect people. But when he learned about his curse, all his dreams immediately collapsed. His skill, or rather curse, was called Zero Experience. No matter how hard he tried and killed monsters, his level did not increase. Will he never be able to become stronger? However, he did not give up and continued hunting, and he believed that someday his level would definitely increase. But time passed and nothing changed, and Ark lost all hope. And then he came up with an idea of how he could earn a living. He began collecting materials from the corpses of monsters, who were killed by more powerful adventurers, and that's when he became a corpse collector. Materials from first-tier monsters are very cheap. You need to look for better monsters. He won't be able to live long by collecting small change, so he constantly thinks about how to make money. Lost in thought, he didn't even notice how he crashed into a group of adventurers. He tried to apologize, but they just pushed him away. And then they stepped on the bread, which was all his food for the day. The leader of this group was called Jarg. He always bullied Ark the most. Ark watched them stand over him and laugh and could do nothing. Everyone knew him as a corpse collector, and because of this he couldn't find a job. So why is all this happening to him? He was just following his dream. But no matter how much they despise him, he will not stop doing this. Otherwise he will simply die of hunger. Every time he went to the cave, he hoped to find something valuable, but this time he smelled a strong stench. Apparently something has rotted badly and for a very long time. And he was not mistaken. Going further, he saw the corpse of a dragon. It looks like he was around level 200. But now, it didn't really matter. He just needed to gather materials. It's a shame that many of the expensive parts are missing. But at least the rotten bag remains. It was usually left alone because of the smell, but that didn't matter to Ark. Suddenly he noticed that there was something inside this bag. But what could possibly be inside it? Without thinking, he took the knife and cut it open to get the contents out. Inside he saw something strange, and at first he didn't even understand what it was. But when he opened the bag more deeply, he realized that it was real armor. The next moment, a strange force began to emerge from the armor. Ark was very scared because he wouldn't be able to cope with something strong. Suddenly he heard a voice. The armor itself was asking him to put it on. But it was very dangerous, and Ark did not dare. Instead, he began to quickly run away from that place, but he stopped almost immediately. After all, there was a whole crowd of goblins in front of him. Now Ark had no idea what to do or how to survive in this situation. Where did such a crowd come from here anyway? Apparently he was too inattentive, which is why he let them get too close. The goblins were the same level as Ark, but he didn't have good equipment. Therefore, it will not be difficult for the goblins to kill him. The first goblin immediately knocked the sword out of his hands. Ark stepped back, trying to think of something. Is he really going to die like this? He will die without having achieved anything in this life. Then he again heard the voice of the armor, which persuaded him to put it on. Ark hesitated for a moment, but when the goblins came close, he realized that he had nothing left to lose. No matter how afraid he was to take the armor, it couldn't get any worse than it already was. So he rushed towards the rotten bag. After looking at the armor again, he made up his mind and took it. Surprisingly, they immediately put it on themselves. The donning of the armor was completed. It was the armor of the abyss, and as it turned out, they were on his side. The voice said that it would obey Ark without question. Along with the armor, he also received a new blade, which was much better than the previous one. And now he was able to kill the first goblin. After the murder, some kind of glow appeared and began to fly towards Ark. But he had no time to think, because more goblins were approaching. After killing them, he saw this glow again. The goblins continued to advance, and Ark was getting better at dealing with them. His body became somehow very light and strong. He stopped for a moment to think about what was happening to him. And at this time, an incomprehensible light continued to fill him. Hen felt himself getting stronger. And finally he saw the coveted inscription about leveling up. He stood there for a while, trying to take it all in. Leveling up? He had been going after this almost his whole life. But how is this possible? He can't get experience points because of the curse. Then the voice of the armor explained everything to him. Thanks to them, he got a new skill, level absorption. It seems that Ark has figured it out now. He still doesn't get any experience points. Instead, it absorbs the level of its enemies. He couldn't believe it. Finally, he was able to become stronger. He was so happy that he could not hold back his tears. He understood this before, but it seems like it's become even faster now. He was able to gain as many as 5 levels. Now, thanks to the armor, he will be able to fulfill his dream. Suddenly he smelled that terrible smell again. But in fact, it didn't matter. After all, thanks to this dragon, he was able to increase his level. Suddenly he realized that if he defeated everyone in this cave, he would become even stronger. They probably won't be able to hurt him thanks to the armor, if he uses it to the maximum. Suddenly he saw a huge shadow. At first he didn't understand what it was, but turning around I saw him. To say that he was scared is to say nothing. He saw a huge goblin king. Most likely he was the boss, the owner of this cave. Ark didn't understand what such a huge and powerful monster was doing here. Then he looked back and seemed to understand everything. All the monsters were attracted by the smell of the rotting dragon corpse. But what should he do in such a situation? Will he be able to defeat the Goblin King? While he was thinking about this, the monster attacked first. Ark managed to dodge, but the second blow still hit him. So hard that he flew into the wall, and the monster began to slowly approach him. And when he was already standing in front of him, Ark thought that his end had come. But he immediately threw these thoughts out of his head. As long as there was at least some opportunity, he would never give up. His only option was to escape, and he had to escape as quickly as possible, because his life was on the line. With great difficulty, fighting dizziness and extreme fatigue, he still managed to escape. And how can he get out of here now? His only exit is blocked by goblins. He understood that even if he could run out, they would definitely catch up with him and kill him. He was still too weak, and decided he could just wait until they left. But then a goblin ran out at him. But he wasn't a danger to Ark, so he simply grabbed him by the head. After which he killed him by hitting him against the cave wall. The goblin began to disintegrate, leaving only a glow in his wake. Ark was a little angry, so at first he didn't even understand anything. But when he saw that his level had increased again, he realized everything. He hadn't been able to level up for so long that he had completely forgotten, which becomes stronger and stronger each time. Now he must kill to survive and prove his right to exist. After some time, he was destroying goblins with all his might. His movements became faster and more precise. The difference in their levels became greater and greater, and it became easier to kill them now they no longer seemed so scary. Even 3 goblins at once were no longer a hindrance. He quickly moved between them and killed them quickly. For each of them, Ark received 1 level. In this world, only the strongest win. Only those with a high level can survive, and the weak are immediately eliminated. He once again understood one truth: the weak will always submit to the strong. He continued walking through the cave in search of goblins to become even stronger. Now he was already level 15. His strength had increased so much that the goblins could not withstand even a weak blow. Suddenly he saw torches illuminating a tunnel and some kind of passage. He looked in to see if there was anything interesting there. And he was right. There was a whole bunch of gold coins, bracelets, and precious stones. It was the goblins' treasury, containing everything they had ever stolen from people. Ark decided to see if there was anything there he could use. He carefully examined each box, and his eye was caught by a box that seemed to be what he needed. Inside, he saw a huge amount of healing potions. The voice of the armor confirmed that it was definitely them, and Ark, without wasting a second, decided to take them, but where to put them. The voice suggested that there was a special space in the armor for potions. Ark was a little surprised by this. Looking down, he saw that it was indeed there. A barely noticeable panel that opened when pressed. Now all the potions were stored there. It was quite a useful thing. In battles, the potions would help him more than once, saving him from fatal wounds and allowing him to continue fighting. Ark continued to look around, carefully checking every corner of the cave, but found nothing interesting. He really wanted to take some gold, but he realized that the weight of the treasure would greatly hinder him in battle. His main goal at the moment is to return to the city alive. He was about to leave when he heard a voice, very quiet, but at the same time clear. It wasn't really a voice, more of a mooing sound, as if someone was trying to call him. He immediately understood everything and rushed towards where the sound was coming from, completely forgetting what he had originally planned to do. In the corner, behind a pile of stones, sat a girl, as he thought. Most likely she was kidnapped by goblins. She was very scared and cried, but when she saw Ark, hope appeared in her eyes. She was very lucky that Ark noticed her, otherwise she would have just sat there. She was very happy and thanked Ark for saving her. Afterwards, she told her name was Mill, and asked the name of her savior. When she heard the name Ark, she didn't believe it at first, and was speechless for a moment. Breaking the silence, he asked her if she was familiar with the nickname Corpse Collector. Mill apologized and said that she had heard a lot of rumors about him, and that people in the city were saying a lot of things about him. However, it is completely different from the rumors. Mill said this with great surprise. Ark was very surprised when he heard this. He was used to everyone avoiding him, but in her opinion, he didn't look like a corpse collector at all. For her, he was a real hero. Ark heard this for the first time. He always dreamed of being an adventurer who saves people. He told Mill to get up and follow him. Now he was going to take her back to the village so that nothing happened to her on the way. For the first time in his life, Ark was truly happy, because he was finally able to help someone. As he walked through the cave, he heard goblins and told Mill to hide behind the rocks. He felt the monsters approaching and didn't want anything to happen to Mill, and indeed quite a few of them came. Or to be more precise, there were far more than Ark had expected. So many more that it was difficult to count them. At first glance, there were about 20 of them, but Ark could not name the exact number. But they were only level 1, and Ark was already level 15, and it was this thought that gave him confidence. Therefore, now it will not be difficult for him to deal with even such a crowd. It will not be a battle, but a quick clearing of the cave. Very soon they will become his level. Every killed goblin will make him stronger. Ark cut down most of the monsters in a second. Most of the goblins didn't even have time to realize what had happened. Now they couldn't do anything to him. The goblins tried to retreat, but Ark caught up with them. After killing all the goblins, Ark began to absorb a huge number of levels. Thanks to this, he attacked faster and faster. His strikes became more accurate. He read his opponent's movements much better. The goblins continued to advance, but Ark easily dodged them, feeling how light his body became. After which he immediately attacked. The level continued to rise and Ark liked it more and more. With each goblin he killed, he felt himself becoming stronger. After some time, all the goblins were killed. Ark finally reached level 35. Mill asked if she could go out, but Ark told her to wait a little longer. Mill, frightened, hid back. So as not to accidentally scream, she covered her mouth with her hands. Ark had already killed all the goblins, and finally he, the master of this cave, appeared. Ark looked at him and waited for the battle to begin. His mind was clear. He was not worried about anything. It seemed the Goblin Lord was more than determined to win. He was the same level as Ark. Ark was no longer the weakling who had escaped last time all the battles with the goblins had hardened his body. Now the Goblin Lord wouldn't be able to defeat him so easily. Ark felt that he was much stronger than him. Ark landed the first blow without any problems. The movement was faster and more precise than ever. It was so fast that the boss didn't even have time to react, and bewilderment was visible in his eyes. The gazes of the goblins who came again were directed at Ark, their eyes filled with anger. He quickly looked around. There were about 10 goblins, and they spread out across the cave, trying to encircle Ark. While the boss was alive, I didn't want to be distracted by trifles, and I had to act very quickly. He shouted at Mill to throw him the knives, with which he was going to kill the small goblins. She took everything and threw it to Ark. She really wanted to help and was afraid to miss. But in flight, the knives began to fly in all directions. Mill was very scared and immediately apologized, because she was afraid that this would disturb Ark. But Ark replied that everything was fine and asked her to hide. He easily caught 2 knives, after which he threw them with all his might at the goblins. They sank into the monsters' bodies, leaving no chance of survival. Then he caught 2 more knives. They didn't fly as comfortably, but he still managed. He threw them at the goblins again. This continued until the knives ran out, each throw being deadly for the goblins. The goblins were very unlucky that they decided to interfere with Ark. They wanted to surround him, but in the end they were all killed. Their desire to help the boss only made the situation worse, because instead of protecting the Lord, they attacked Ark. And now he was already at level 45. The Goblin Lord attacked him from behind, but Ark reacted easily, having predicted the blow. But when the boss started to strike several times in a row, Ark even got scared. The blows were too strong, but his level was higher than the boss's. Suddenly the armor started saying that this monster had a bracelet that increased its stats. Now Ark understood everything. Usually it is not so easy to raise the level. Therefore, to become stronger, adventurers equip items that increase stats. But he didn't think that monsters were capable of this too. In this case, the goal is clear. You need to destroy the bracelet and then deal with the ruler. Ark waited for the moment to dodge the attack first. Afterwards, he stepped aside. There he saw knives and he came up with a plan. He took 2 knives and rushed at the boss. He threw them to distract the ruler. And then he moved closer to strike. Ark appeared behind him, but his target was not the boss himself. And the bracelet on his hand, if broken, the ruler will be significantly weakened. The bracelet was cut. Now it was time to deal with the boss. There will be no more surprises. Ark looked at the Lord. Then at the entrance Ark met him, being the weakest. But now he is much stronger than him. Now he must run in fear. If of course he succeeds, which is very unlikely. The Lord became angry and began to slowly approach Ark. But Ark was faster and struck first. The goblin, of course, managed to reflect it. But the blow was so strong that he was simply thrown to the other end of the cave. Ark slowly approached, enjoying his superiority. After all, now the life of the monster is at stake, and not Ark himself. The next moment he knocked the weapon out of his hands. If he overcomes it, his whole life will change. He will finally get rid of his weakness. The disarmed boss tried to punch Ark, but it was already useless. Thanks to him, Ark became even stronger, so we can thank him for that. Ark began to absorb the boss's level, and now he was level 80. Afterwards, he told Mill that it was time to go out. She watched and couldn't believe that he had defeated the Goblin Lord. And then she said that now he is the strongest adventurer in this place. Ark didn't pay any attention to it at first. He began to carve trophies. From the boss, he obtained a large tusk of the Goblin Lord. He couldn't even imagine that he would ever obtain such a rare material. Mill said that she could carry everything herself. Besides the fang, he also took out the cursed bone. He thanked Mila for helping him with the materials. It wasn't difficult for her, because he saved her life. Now Ark began to think about what to do next. He decided that he could simply return to the village, but Mill thought otherwise. If we leave things like this, the goblins will appear again and may kidnap the girls from the village. He asked her to walk with him a little longer. He couldn't allow any more girls to be kidnapped. He decided to destroy all the goblins in this cave. He returned to the village already at level 100, but he left when he was only 1 year old. At level 100, he will be able to defeat most of the monsters in the area. But most of all, he was glad that he had finally become a real adventurer. Mill asked again what he had just said. She had never heard of adventurers with a triple-digit level. So Ark is clearly no longer a newbie, and the strongest adventurer. After some thought, Ark admitted it. In fact, he had never met adventurers with such a high level. He told Mill that he could absorb the levels of defeated enemies. She was amazed, because with such strength he could become even stronger. She said she would keep her fingers crossed for him. Suddenly their conversation was interrupted. It was Jarg and his team. As soon as Ark saw him, his expression immediately changed. Jarg asked where he got such armor. Did you really decide to rely on equipment since you can't level up? Jarg said that even with the best armor, Ark would still be trash, and no equipment will help with such a difference in levels. The next second, Ark held a knife to Jarg's throat, after which he asked him to shut up. Jarg was stunned by Ark's behavior. After all, he never responded to insults. Jarg took out his sword to show Ark who was stronger, but nothing came of it. Ark easily knocked the sword out of his hands and Jarg ended up on the ground. His friends tried to say something, but when Ark turned around they immediately fell silent. Jarg didn't understand how this was possible, since he was level 20. How could he lose to Ark, who was only level 1? Hearing this, Ark laughed. Now Jarg was 5 times weaker than him. Jarg's friend told him to check Ark's level. At first he didn't pay any attention to it, and then I saw the number 100 and was speechless. At first he thought it was some kind of mistake. But if it was true, that Ark is a real monster. Ark is already a little tired. First a corpse collector, now a monster. But he was just an ordinary adventurer. But suddenly he noticed that Jarga had already disappeared without a trace, just like his friends. Mill was glad that Ark finally stood up for himself. It seems she was happier about this than Ark himself. After that, she decided that she needed to tell everyone about his new abilities. Ark went into the shop to sell materials. The old man was already dissatisfied and did not even greet Ark. He ignored this and said that he wanted to sell the materials. He didn't want to see the pathetic corpse collector at all. That's why he said that if it was just another piece of trash, then he shouldn't waste his time. After his words, Ark smiled and asked if it was all garbage. Having seen all the materials, the old man's face changed. What struck him most was the Goblin Lord's fang. He looked at it for a long time, thinking that it was a fake. Ark said he was able to defeat him, but the old man did not want to take his word for it. Then Ark asked Mill and she confirmed everything. After which she poured out many more precious materials onto the table, and Ark asked again whether he would buy it or not, and the old man of course agreed. How could he refuse such rare items? Ark smiled and said that he hoped for a fair assessment of his work. Immediately after he went to the market, the grandfather selling bread was glad to see him. Ark handed him a bag of gold coins. Grandfather was amazed at where Ark got so much money. He said that he was finally able to defeat the strong monster, and so I decided to share some of the money with him. Grandfather rushed to hug Ark. He was incredibly happy for him. Suddenly Ark heard a scream. People gathered near the entrance to the village. Ark asked his grandfather to wait for him and look after Mill. When he ran there, he saw a broken fence, and also a pack of huge wolves. One of them had already attacked the girl, but Ark arrived in time and saved her. The girl was saved and thanked Ark. Afterwards, he looked at the wolves and saw where they came from. But however, it didn't matter now. They shouldn't have come here. After all, they won't get past the entrance. There were quite a lot of werewolves. If they get into the village, it will end very badly. People asked to call the Jarga group quickly, but they had gone somewhere. So Ark decided to take responsibility. They were only level 8, so they didn't pose any danger. But it was only for him. He must not forget about ordinary citizens, for whom werewolves pose a huge danger. If he doesn't do anything, they'll all just be killed. So he started killing them, while making sure the residents were safe. People thanked him, but they were amazed that they were being saved by a corpse collector. But Ark didn't care. Now saving the village was more important. Even though they call him a corpse collector, it's not that important at the moment. He can't leave them to die. Ark ran around the village and killed the monsters that managed to enter the village. Fortunately, they were killed in one blow. Ark's level also grew and was already 172nd. Suddenly, Ark realized that something was wrong. There were 10 monsters, which means there should have been 80 more levels. And since something doesn't add up, that means the last monster is now in the village. Ark was very scared and immediately rushed to look for him. At that time, the werewolf was sitting on the roof and was about to attack the girl. Ark noticed him, but it seemed it was too late. The werewolf had already jumped, and Ark wouldn't have had time to reach him. Is it really true that even with such a level he can't save everyone? Various scenarios ran through his head. He couldn't allow the girl to die, and it seems that the only plausible idea came to him. He had to throw the sword. He only had one chance. Better to do it than to regret later. Ark swung his sword and threw it at the werewolf with all his might. It seemed that at that moment even time slowed down. But the sword still hits the werewolf, and the girl remains unharmed. The sword was thrown with such force that the werewolf was pinned to the wall. Ark slowly approached the girl. She looked up and recognized him as the corpse collector. She thanked him for saving her. Seeing her happy face, Ark forgot about all the grievances. He was very glad that he managed to save her after all. And now something else awaited him. People had already gathered around him. All those who had been avoiding him and pointing fingers. One of them said that they had something to talk to him about. Ark had expected them not to be pleased with being saved by a corpse collector. The man came closer to him. Ark said that he already understood everything and just started to leave. But suddenly he was stopped, and he heard all the residents thank him. Everyone took turns thanking him. It was only thanks to him that they were all alive now. Ark never expected this. These were the first kind words addressed to him. Suddenly the mother of the girl he saved came up to him. She thanked him again for saving her child, after which she burst into tears and bowed her head. Ark felt very awkward and asked her to get up. He said he just wanted to help them. He used to loot corpses, and that won't change. But now everything may change. Now he had the power to help others. Now he will become an adventurer who will help people. After that, he went back to his grandfather. The next day, everything was as usual. People went about their business. Mill saw Ark and ran up to greet him. She ran closer and shouted good morning to him. Then she asked where his armor was. He said they were still on him. Then he snapped his fingers. And indeed, the armor appeared. He noticed this feature only in the morning. It was really cool. Thanks to this armor, he became a real adventurer. But the question remained, what was the dragon's corpse doing in this cave? Although, what does it matter now? At this time, the following adventurers came to the same cave. It was Jarg and his team. They were running away from someone very quickly. Jarg couldn't understand what such a monster was doing here. In the darkness, only a huge eye was visible, which suddenly began to spew lightning. Jarg was so exhausted that he could not move. Suddenly, Ark felt something. Jarg and his team ran after a very ordinary Cyclops. They almost finished him off. All that was left was to catch up. Among his friends, Jarg was the strongest. The monster began to run into the cave. The team stopped briefly in front of the cave. Because werewolves attacked the village yesterday and Zharg's team was not there, they were fined. Therefore, under no circumstances could the prey be lost. At this time, the Cyclops was slowly walking through the cave. He smelled an enticing scent and followed it. And he went out to the place where the dragon's corpse lay. Zharg's team was already in the cave, but as they went further they smelled a terrible smell. But they couldn't stop and continued walking. When they reached the corpse, they saw it being devoured by the same Cyclops. Ark was already heading towards the cave. As he thought, it was not just a strange feeling. He felt someone unusual. It seems like he has some connection to this place. Suddenly, as he came closer, he froze. What was the matter? As we moved towards the center of the cave, the smell continued to intensify. And when he reached the corpse, he saw a terrible picture. A huge Cyclops held the body of a member of Zharg's team. After that, he turned his gaze to Ark, and he simply threw the body against the wall like a toy. Now all the monster's attention was on Ark. His aura was terrifying. Ark had never encountered such demons before. But now he was level 180, in which case he simply couldn't lose. You need to attack before the monster makes its first move. But the armor began to sound the alarm about too big a difference in level. Because of this, Ark was distracted and missed the blow. The force was incredible, so much so that Ark was thrown to the other end of the cave. He didn't understand how this was possible. He decided to check the status of his enemy. And at first I didn't even believe what I saw. This Cyclops was level 200. Where did he come from? The armor warned of a powerful energy accumulation in the head area. And they recommended an immediate retreat. But Ark had no strength left. The armor continued to sound the alarm, but Ark could do nothing. He tried to get up, but it was all in vain. If he doesn't do anything, he'll just die. And he seems almost resigned to his end. Is he really going to die like this? Ark tried his best, but nothing worked. The Cyclops struck. It was a powerful beam that destroyed everything in its path. He hooked Ark, and he felt like he was about to lose consciousness. Cyclops stood for a while and looked at Ark's body. I think he is still alive. But after, considering him dead, he headed towards the exit. Suddenly Ark woke up. It was a real miracle. Still, at the last moment he managed to dodge, and this saved him. Cyclops was definitely wrong in thinking Ark was dead, even though he was very close to death. The armor said that Ark was seriously injured and recommended using potions for healing. Ark didn't understand at first, but then he remembered that he found them in the goblin's lair. After drinking it, although he was not completely healed, it definitely became easier to move. Now he needed to catch up with the monster before it reached the village. Ark was sure that the Cyclops would go in this direction. Suddenly, someone called out to him and Ark immediately recognized that voice. He turned to make sure. It was Zharg. His body was pierced through and through. Everything was covered in blood. He said that he saw the potions in his possession and ordered Ark to give them to him. After all, for someone like him, this is too valuable an item. Zharg planned to heal and escape as quickly as possible. Ark was in no hurry to answer him, and this made Zharg angry. Having calmed down a little, Zharg began to beg him, because the pain was simply unbearable. Ark asked the armor if his potions could heal such wounds, and they answered no, there were too many mortal wounds. The chance of survival when using potions was 0. Zharg will die in a few minutes from blood loss. Hearing this, he asked him the following question. Does the skill of absorbing levels work on people? The answer was positive. Ark told Zharg that he couldn't help him in any way, but he himself already understood this. Zharg just wanted this pain to finally end. Ark said he had one way to put him out of his misery. Zharg wasn't stupid and understood everything, so he asked Ark to do it quickly. He asked to kill him as soon as possible. Ark admitted that he had hated him with all his heart all this time. However, now he will be greatly missed. After his words, he decapitated Zharg with one swift movement. At this time, the Cyclops was walking through the forest towards the village, and it seems I have almost reached it. He was glad about this, but now someone has come who wants to stop him. It was Ark. After killing Zharg, he equalized his level with the Cyclops. Ark was determined to kill him. A battle began between them, and at first Ark was constantly on the offensive. He gave the monster advice to always finish off his enemies, and since he didn't do it, now he will have to die. Ark pointed his sword at him and said that the battle continued, and also warned that he should be more careful. Even though he hated Zharg, he had to kill his friend, and now he is very angry. The monster also began to attack. Ark easily parried the attacks and struck back. Ark tried to cut his wings several times, but he never managed to do it. They turned out to be much stronger than he thought. After this, the monster again began its attack with a beam from its eye. Ark couldn't let him shoot anymore, but at the last moment the monster seemed to change his mind. Ark didn't have time to react and missed the blow. After this, the monster tore a tree out of the ground and threw it at Ark. Ark again failed to dodge and flew back several meters. He found himself pressed against the wall again. Their levels were the same, but why couldn't he defeat him? This Cyclops was a real problem. But Ark didn't lose his spirit. He wasn't finished yet. The armor detected a huge accumulation of energy in the head area, which means there will be an impact soon. Ark was thinking about what to do this time. He dodged the beam and was about to strike. He put all his strength into this blow. And finally I was able to cut his wings. The Cyclops screamed in pain and tried to fly away. Ark had finally managed to wound him. All that was left was to finish him off. But the Cyclops suddenly froze, staring at the village. Ark understood everything, but it was too late. The monster strained all the muscles in his legs to make the jump. And after that, he jumped towards the village. He was going to kill all the villagers to restore his strength. Ark needs to return to the village as soon as possible. Now she was in mortal danger. Residents saw something huge in the sky and tried to understand what was approaching them. And while they were thinking, the Cyclops had already fallen into the center of the village. But Ark was already in the village too. He shouted for everyone to run away right now, otherwise they would all die. The monster began to destroy houses, trying to pull people out of them. Residents fled their homes in fear. And then the Cyclops was about to attack again from his eye. Ark was fed up with this and tried to stop him. But the Cyclops attacked, and all the houses in the beam's path were destroyed. Ark was able to dodge and was behind the monster, after which he rushed towards him, but it seemed that it was all in vain. Ark was unable to injure him, and the monster simply decided to run on. But Ark did not give up and continued to attack. Despite the same level, the difference in strength was too great. Ark hoped that the monster would simply give up, but he attacked very suddenly. Ark couldn't have expected this. Even his armor didn't warn him. And immediately after one attack, while Ark was in the air, a second one followed. Ark found himself pressed into the ground, and the Cyclops simply ran on. Ark tried to find the strength to stand up. He wasn't finished yet and wanted to continue the fight. After all, only he can defeat such a strong monster. That's why he will never give up. Meanwhile, the monster reached the grandfather, but there was no reaction from that. Apparently he was already prepared for his death. Their village was very small, but no matter how hard they try, they won't be able to escape. In this case, there is only one way out. All he can do is buy time for the hero. And it seems he succeeded. The hero came at the right time. Ark said that a ragamuffin like him couldn't be a hero. But Grandfather thought differently. Ark didn't know how to defeat the Cyclops. Grandpa said that Ark thinks too much, and all these thoughts hinder him in battle. After that, he threw Ark a loaf of bread. It was the same bread that Ark ate as a corpse collector. Grandpa asked if it was any different from the days when he was begging on the streets. Ark took a bite of bread. He was as terrible as always. But thanks to this, he was finally able to collect his thoughts. Now he was in a mood like never before. The battle continues. Ark rushed towards the Cyclops at full speed. He struck blow after blow, but the monster parried each attack. But at some point, Ark missed the first blow. His mood began to fade little by little. He couldn't imagine how to defeat such a strong monster. But suddenly he turned and saw him. The little boy, why didn't he run away with the others? Ark shouted at him to run away as quickly as possible. But he was so scared that his legs wouldn't move, and the Cyclops was already aimed at him. He jumped to get closer. Landing right in front of the boy, he began to intimidate him. And then he swung to strike. The boy thought he was about to die, but Ark couldn't let that happen. He managed to take the blow himself. The impact was so strong that the wall behind Ark crumbled. He became really ill. He told the boy to run away, but he didn't want to leave Ark. The monster was already preparing to attack again, but Ark had no strength left. He asked the child to run away again, and he, to Ark's surprise, listened to him. The boy ran as fast as he could, and Ark was in mortal danger. But he was glad that he was able to save at least someone. He stopped trying to change anything. It seems his death was predetermined, and he didn't resist at all. It looks like this is the time when he can't get out of this anymore. The beam hit Ark's sword and he survived, but the blow was too strong. Ark no longer believed that he could do anything. Suddenly he remembered about the potions, but the next moment he realized that he didn't have them. He lost his last potion when he hit. He tried to reach out, but he had no strength left. The next moment he found himself in some strange place. If he really died, then the village has already been destroyed. But it turned out he simply lost consciousness. A little girl sat above him and gave him a potion to drink. She was very glad that he finally woke up. When Aru sat down, she introduced herself. Her name was Lyra. She was born in this village, so she also wanted to protect it. Ark tried to get up. He needed to get back into the fight as soon as possible. Lyra sat next to him and said that she had been watching his fight. She saw him fight for this village, and all the residents are very grateful to him for this. After that, she stood up, extended her hand to him, and said that they needed to run. Ark replied that he couldn't. He was the only one who could defeat the monster. But Lyra said that was the reason. If Ark suddenly loses, then everything will be in vain. Nothing can save the village anymore. Therefore, he needs to avoid meeting this monster until his wounds heal. Ark's whole body ached with pain. Apparently, he needed to rest a little more. But at that moment, the Cyclops returned. Lyra extended her hand to him and told him to run. He thought for a moment, but still agreed. Lyra told him to run after her. She knew many passages through which one could escape. While they were running, he asked how she knew his name. She replied that he was very popular in this village. He asked if it was all because of the nickname Corpse Collector. She said that too, but she thinks she's the real hero. When the village was attacked by werewolves, she was there too. Ark promised her that he would definitely kill the monster and save the village. Suddenly they heard screams very close by. Running around the corner, he saw a man dragging a girl by the hair. They were in a great hurry, because the monster would get here very soon. The man understood that even if they openly kidnapped people, no one would stop them as long as the Cyclops was roaming the village. He wanted to make a lot of money by selling this girl. All this was very untimely. Ark did not want to waste time on the bandits, but he could not leave the girl. They took everything they could carry. Lyra was shocked by how inhuman these creatures were, but Ark was going to deal with them as soon as possible. But as soon as he turned to ask Lyra to wait for him, he saw that she was already in the arms of a huge man. You could see in her eyes how scared she was. He told Ark to drop the weapon if he didn't want her to get hurt. Ark didn't want to do it, but he had no choice. Their conversation attracted the attention of the gang leader. He turned to see what was going on. He said they didn't need men, and then looked at Lyra. He was struck by her beauty. He immediately approached and began to examine her completely. He was confident that he could sell it for a high price. Ark asked how they had the nerve to rob the village in such a situation, but they made it clear to him that they had no business with this village. They originally came here to plunder it, and they were very lucky that they didn't kill everyone. After these words, Ark became very angry, but he was not taken seriously. The leader said that all adventurers are very pathetic. Even with so much power, he won't be able to do anything. Afterwards, they were going to move out of the village, and special attention should be paid to Lyra. After all, they don't want Ark to interfere, the leader said with a grin. Ark waited only 1 second. As soon as the opportunity arises, he will immediately save Lyra. And it seems that this was that very moment. The leader shouted at the man to turn around. Mill was running towards him from behind with a knife in her hands. The man simply walked away and Mill fell to the ground. He said that she couldn't defeat him, but she had no intention of doing so. The man thought about it at first, but when he began to understand, it was already too late. Mill was just bait. At that moment, Ark was already approaching him, and with one powerful blow he threw him back. At last Lyra was safe. The leader was scared and told everyone to kill Ark, but they posed no danger to him. He was so angry that he had no intention of holding back. His words were again not taken seriously, and in vain. They started attacking him, and Ark was in no hurry to dodge. Looking at the man, he said that they could not defeat him, and he will take revenge for the fact that they frightened Lyra. There is too big a difference in level between them. In a matter of seconds, Ark dealt with almost everyone. Only the leader remained, and he could do nothing. Ark said they shouldn't have caught his eye. The leader tried to strike, but failed. Ark cut him in half in an instant. After absorbing the level, he received a message that he had reached the maximum level. Can't he rise above level 250? He didn't even think that there were any limitations. Although, on the other hand, he was still the strongest. The next moment, Lyra threw herself into his arms. She was grateful to him for saving her. He said he would never abandon her in trouble. After all, she herself saved him by giving him the potion. If it weren't for her, the monster would have killed him long ago. Lyra said that he is now her hero. It was very strange for Ark to hear this. He didn't think he deserved such praise, but he still understood. If I had left them alive, they could have destroyed other villages. These thoughts were constantly spinning in his head. He understood that there was no other way out, but he still felt uneasy. But Lyra said that it was not his fault at all. She tried to convey to Ark that he had done everything right. He took the lives of the robbers to save everyone else, so he shouldn't worry about it. Surely, if someone else were in his place, he would have done exactly the same. Ark saved everyone, and that's why Lyra considers him her hero. After her words, Ark actually felt a little better. Then Mill came running and said that all the captured people had safely reached their homes. Ark praised her, and she was very happy to be of service. After all, before, while Ark was fighting, she could only watch and could not help in any way. After that, she said that next time she would fight together with Ark. He immediately replied that this would not happen. He couldn't allow Mill to be in constant danger. Afterwards, he told Mill and Lyra that they better hide as soon as possible. The armor told Ark that now, having reached level 250, he would be able to defeat this monster. Ark was determined to put an end to their battle. As soon as he thought about it, the Cyclops was already in front of him. The walls began to collapse from his landing. But Ark stood absolutely calm and didn't even move from his place. Finally, he would be able to finish him off and protect the city. Looking at Lyra and Mill, he ordered them to go to a safe place. They were very scared and didn't even argue with Ark. They ran away, leaving Ark alone with the monster. Ark apologized for running away during their last meeting. But now he intends to fight, not run away. It's time to end this. The monster tried to scare Ark with a scream, but he didn't even look away. Previously, Ark couldn't even wield a sword, because of which his life turned out terrible. And then he swung his sword for the first time to save his life. And now he fights to protect his home and the people close to him. He uses the sword to fulfill all the hopes of his friends. The monster better get ready, because now it will be difficult for him. Now he will experience firsthand the blow of a man who has surpassed human limits. Cyclops tried to strike, but Ark easily parried it. She became much faster and stronger, and now any attacks from this monster are useless. Ark was superior to him in absolutely everything. The only thing the monster had was its beam attack. Ark stood right next to him, and seemed to have no intention of moving away. The armor told him to leave, but Ark was calmer than ever. Now he knew that this monster would not cause him any problems. In this world, everything is decided by level, so the Cyclops has no chance of winning. The next second the monster attacked. Ark continued to stand in place and did not even flinch. Now this attack could not cause any damage to him. He will definitely win, because the difference in their levels is too great. Ark and the Cyclops stood opposite each other, waiting for one to attack first. It felt like their battle was just beginning. But suddenly the Cyclops saw a terrifying aura emanating from Ark. And he even got scared. He had never experienced anything like this in his life. Ark said that he would avenge every person the monster attacked in the city. His victory is predetermined, and there is nothing that can be done about it. In such an unfair world, where level decides everything, everything is quite predictable. The one whose level is higher always defeats the one whose level is lower. These are not just words. This is a law established over centuries. Once on the ground, the Cyclops made pathetic attempts to attack Ark, but it seems he still hasn't realized it. So Ark will explain everything to him. He will show him what real despair is. The Cyclops attacked again and again, but it was all in vain. Apparently, until this moment he didn't realize that he had already lost. This happened back when he simply didn't kill Ark. The difference between them was too huge. Cyclops continued to try to hit Ark, but none of his attacks hit their target. He repeated the same thing several times, hoping that he could at least get a little bit of attention from Ark. But his speed and reflexes were on a completely different level. No matter what the monster does, he will never catch up with Ark. Ark swung his sword just once. One attack from Ark, and the monster had already lost an arm. It's time to end this battle. He was determined to finish everything here and now. The monster began to shoot beams in all directions. But it was no use. The Cyclops lost. Still alive, he found himself on the ground, but could no longer move. He hurt so many people. It's time to pay the bill. Ark thrust his sword into his eye with all his might. This was the last thing the monster saw before his death. After the murder, Ark was unable to absorb the level, as he had already reached the human maximum. The next day the village was already calm. People went about their business as usual, but basically everyone was busy with one thing. Everyone was rebuilding their homes and the homes of their neighbors after the Cyclops attack. Suddenly one of the guys stumbled and started falling from the roof. But Ark came in time and caught him. Everyone who met him thanked him for his help, and this greatly lifted his spirits. Walking towards the forest, he began to think about one problem. After absorbing the Cyclops, he became able to transform levels. What is it? He asked the armor this question, and they answered that in exchange for a level, one can receive unique skills. Unique skills had various positive effects. This is a very nice bonus for adventurers. Since Ark couldn't gain experience points, unique skills weren't available to him either. But now, in exchange for levels, he can get very rare unique skills. He still didn't understand what this abyssal armor of his was. The first thing Ark was advised to do was get the limit break skill. However, its price was 240 levels, almost all that Ark had. If he acquires it, he will lose almost everything. But if you think about it, he simply needs this skill. So without thinking twice, he bought it. To purchase a skill, one had to say the phrase "request for purchase" and the name of the skill that Ark wanted to buy. After that he felt strange. He was alternately hot and cold. And after that he saw how levels began to emerge from him. This glow was so bright that many residents also saw it. And Ark continued to acquire the skill. And after a couple more seconds, he finally received his first unique skill. But he also felt as if his consciousness had expanded. The armor said that this was normal, because in fact, Ark is now a being that is superior to humans. Ark looked up and smiled, something he couldn't even dream of just recently. He has come such a long way from a corpse collector to a hero who saved a village. Suddenly someone new appeared in the village. When the man arrived, he was surprised that the monster had already been destroyed. And apparently he became very angry. And then he wanted to find the adventurer who defeated this demon. Suddenly Ark remembered something. The time he killed the Cyclops, he couldn't absorb its level because of the limit. However, now the level has returned to him again. Even though I spent almost everything on the skill, I can now fight monsters again. He needed to acquire as many unique skills as possible to become stronger. Unique skills were very valuable, but he would be able to obtain them much easier than others. If everything works out, he will become the strongest adventurer in the world. I needed to think through my next plan. Suddenly Lyra came up behind him. She said she had been looking for him everywhere. After yesterday's victory over the monster, she still couldn't find him among the crowds of people. Ark apologized and said that he was helping residents put out the fires. While Ark and Lyra were talking, Mill came to them. She told Ark how worried Lyra was, and Ark was glad that they were okay. And after all, it was his merit, and Lyra was very grateful to him for this. Suddenly, the next moment, she stood on her toes and kissed Ark on the cheek as a sign of gratitude. Ark was very embarrassed, and at first did not even understand what had happened. While he was trying to say something, Lyra quickly told him that she loved him. And immediately after that, without waiting for any reaction, she ran away to the village. Ark couldn't believe what had just happened. Mill herself even felt a little embarrassed. And Grandfather said that it seems that spring has finally come to Ark. Ark became very embarrassed and Mill and his grandfather ran away. And he remained, still not believing that someone had actually fallen in love with him. He couldn't even dream of such a thing before. So what should he do now? The armor also tried to help here and advised him to behave like a man. A few days later, guests arrived in the village. It was an adventurers' guild. Apparently they came here from far away. The city looked like a wasteland, and they thought they were too late. Perhaps this village was attacked by another, more powerful monster. If it had been a fire dragon, there would have been nothing left of the village. To be absolutely sure, it was necessary to find out everything from the local residents. No matter what happens, they must prevent this dragon from attacking. After this, the whole crowd moved towards the cave. There were about 20 of them, some of the most powerful adventurers in the district. After some time, they almost reached the cave, in which, in fact, sat that very dragon. But everything was not so simple. Ark was leveling up as fast as he could and spending it on unique skills. At the moment, he was level 1, but he was still killing monsters. He has acquired many unique skills in recent days. The first was the poison coating. Even though it cost 200 levels, the benefits were simply immeasurable. This skill allows you to apply deadly poison to weapons. The second skill is a sword thrower. With these skills, even though he lost all levels, he will be able to easily defeat monsters while avoiding direct combat. The only downside is that it will take some time before the monster dies. But even at level 1, Ark can easily regain his power. Just at that moment, it so happened that one monster had already been killed. His level reached 41 and Ark decided to immediately spend it on new skills. The next second he had already bought himself a poison boost. Now all poisoned monsters will die even faster. He decided to finish for today, and he did a pretty good job. About 20 monsters should now be poisoned by his knives. In a couple of hours, he should be back at level 200. But just as he was about to go back, he met that group of adventurers. He approached them to ask what had happened and why they had come to the village. The leader of their group was Ein. He was the representative of the Adventurers Guild. At first, he wanted to invite Ark to join them. However, he changed his mind almost immediately as soon as he saw that Ark was level 1. Immediately, everyone else started whispering, but Ark didn't react. After all, such a reaction was entirely expected. Ein said that if Ark wanted to become an adventurer, he could help him. But Ark replied that he had already become one a long time ago. Another man approached Arku and placed his hand on his shoulder, asking why he was still level 1 then. But Ark clearly didn't like this. He didn't really want anyone to start questioning him. Suddenly, the man seemed to recognize him. He had heard rumors, but he didn't believe they were true. He called Ark the weakest adventurer in human history. And then he pointed his finger at him and said something that Ark had just gotten rid of. He called him a corpse collector. Ark calmly said that this was true, but would there really be any problems because of this? And froze in place, he clearly didn't expect such an answer. Afterwards, he said that they received a hunting quest from the guild and came here. Recently, many special monsters have been discovered in these lands, and especially the Black Dragon, a powerful level 150 monster. It is impossible to defeat such a monster alone. So he created a group of adventurers with unique skills. They can easily defeat the Black Dragon, and there is no need to worry about it. After that, he extended his hand to Ark and asked him to introduce himself. Without thinking twice, Ark gave his name and asked not to be referred to as a corpse collector. As they shook hands, he thought that he himself could handle this black dragon. And then I remembered something. Are they really talking about that dragon that lies in the cave? Suddenly, an assistant came running to Ein with a report. He said that the scouts had discovered the dragon they were looking for. There was no doubt that it was him. However, they did not yet know how this would turn out in the future. Ark stood there all this time and thought. Their group's level was around 120. Even though some of them have unique skills, they will have a hard time against the dragon. He couldn't leave them like this. However, Ein immediately said no, and everyone else also thought that a weakling with a first level would not help them in any way. As Ark began to argue, another adventurer emerged from the crowd. He said the leader had been too soft on him, so he would speak frankly. Ark is weak and has no right to go near them. But at this rate they will all die there. But at his current level, he really can't help them in any way. All he could do was wait for the levels to arrive and then go help them. But when they arrived there, the whole group fell into a trap. No one had warned them about this. They were told that there would be a level 150 black dragon. Ein started laughing nervously, thinking it was some kind of joke. It was not a black dragon, but a monster of calamity rank, the ruler of all black dragons. The strongest of his kind, the Black Dragon Emperor. Level 300 World Destroyer. Seeing some of his comrades killed, he ordered everyone to retreat immediately. There is no way they can handle him. All they can do is run and save their lives. They needed to urgently request help from the guild, but the Destroyer of Worlds began to attack. With one swing of his tail, he sent Ein flying back several meters. But just at that moment, Ark came running to their aid. This dragon was definitely from that goblin cave. Was he really just pretending to be dead back then? But now was not the time to think about it. The Dragon Emperor began to attack, and his power was not even close to that of the Cyclops. When Ark ran to the dragon, he asked the armor how long it would take for it to absorb levels. There were still 30 seconds left, and Ark accelerated to maximum. Just a little more and the Destroyer of Worlds will attack Ein. Already running up to the monster, the levels were finally obtained. Now Ark was level 201, but it seemed that even that wouldn't help him. Running even closer, he made a purchase request. And right before the Dragon Emperor's attack, he managed to buy fire resistance. If it weren't for this skill, there wouldn't even be bones left of him. Ark asked if anyone else survived besides Ein. He couldn't answer anything. He was shocked that Ark was able to stop the attack of the Destroyer of Worlds. The man from Ein's group was also alive and didn't understand why they were barely holding on, while the corpse collector wasn't even wounded. Ark replied that there was no secret about it. He's simply many times stronger than all of them put together. But even with such power, he could not save everyone. He believed that it was all because of his indecisiveness. Suddenly the man apologized to Ark, after which he died on the spot. After this, Ark became furious. No matter how strong he becomes, he can't save people. For the sake of the adventurers who died here, he will do what he must. Defeat the Destroyer of Worlds here and now. The monster clearly didn't like such a loud statement, and he decided to attack first. After which he began to shoot at Ark again. Ein shouted at him to leave quickly, but Ark asked him not to worry. He would be fine. He stopped the attack without any problems, all thanks to his new skill. But Ark didn't know what to do next. He was able to repel the attack, but how to strike himself. Such a weak flame won't be able to hurt him. The dragon was furious. Ark had really angered him. Fire attacks no longer worked on Ark due to fire resistance, but to get it, he spent almost all of his levels. And how can he win now? It was necessary to raise my level as quickly as possible. While he was thinking about this, the dragon swung to hit Ark. He managed to dodge with great difficulty. The Destroyer of Worlds realized that fire had no effect on Ark, so he began using physical attacks. At this level, he won't be able to resist him. Suddenly, Ark felt something approaching from behind, and his instincts did not fail him. The dragon decided to attack with its tail. When Ark thought he was already dead, the dragon's head quickly fell off. The Destroyer of Worlds lay on the ground, cut in two. When Ark looked up, he saw another adventurer. He was amazed that he managed to defeat the Dragon Emperor with one blow. Ark asked him who he was and what he was doing in this village. He introduced himself. His name was Baldar, and he was the only disaster rank adventurer on the continent. Ark heard about this for the first time and was very surprised. Suddenly Ein came up to him and said that he was also seeing him for the first time. But he knew this man from legends. He possesses incredible power. He stands above all people. No one will ever reach his level. He is the one who is feared even by those who have never seen him in real life. This is what means the rank of disaster. Baldar was surprised that Ein knew so much about him. When Ark looked at his level, everything became clear to him. His unique skill was Limit Break, and his level was 300. It was the complete opposite of Ark's 0 experience skill. Ark asked if he had come to help them. But hearing this, Baldar laughed. He can't stand weak adventurers, and he considered everyone below him in level to be weak. Then he said that because of Ark, all his plans had collapsed. He said that the whole village was talking about Ark, about how he killed the demons single-handedly. He wondered if the rumors were true, but now he is disappointed. Suddenly, the Destroyer of Worlds began to roar, and after that he even raised his severed head. But Baldar quickly calmed him down by piercing him with his sword again. He didn't like the monster interrupting their conversation. After that, he cut it several more times. And after that, he asked if they knew an interesting fact about the Destroyer of Worlds. It will continue to regenerate until its magical core is destroyed. Ark was surprised to hear this. Baldar said that he had already killed him once in a cave with goblins. Ark immediately remembered that it was really he who left his body there. However, Baldar did not destroy the core then, and simply left the dragon in that cave. The monster that ate his flesh quickly changed. He evolved even faster than Baldar could have imagined. The Destroyer of Worlds is too powerful and would leave nothing of the village. He needed weaker monsters, and the Cyclops was perfect for that. His first step was to unleash a monster on the village and then kill it, making himself look like a hero. And then kill the Destroyer of Worlds again and become stronger. And as a result, he received unlimited power and also became famous throughout the world. Ein couldn't believe that an adventurer could say such a thing. Baldar pointed his finger at Ark and said that he had ruined his entire plan. But Ark didn't care. He was furious that he had allowed the village to be attacked for the sake of fame. Baldar replied that someone like him needed power, fame, and money. Having all this, you can live as you wish. But after all this, Ark called him a real idiot. After all, because of his desires, many residents died. And also good adventurers. Did he even think about it for a second or not? Ark raised his sword and asked the armor to lend him strength. It's time to bring this arrogant bastard down to earth. Baldar was very offended that some weakling had overestimated himself. He had only just raised his sword, but Ein and Ark were already finding it difficult to stand on their feet. Such was Baldar's power. After all, he is level 300. If they start fighting now, Ark's chances are 0. However, he had a plan, and it was contained in the magical core of the Destroyer of Worlds. It is very vulnerable now, and if he destroys it, he will raise his level. Ark asked the armor if he could acquire the ranged attack skill now, but Baldar didn't really want to wait for Ark and decided to attack first. It happened so quickly and unexpectedly that Ark barely reacted. Baldar told him to fall on his knees and beg for mercy. With great difficulty, Ark managed to dodge. He and Ein were thrown several meters to the side. Ark lay there and couldn't even move. Now he understood exactly what the disaster rank meant. And Baldar didn't even think about ending their battle. He decided to finish off Ark quickly. Ark is in a terrible situation now. Finally, the armor found the right skill and offered to buy it for him. This skill allowed him to throw small grenades, but at first Ark didn't understand how this would help him. Baldar was already approaching, and Ark seemed to understand. He had to use grenades and poisoned knives. Ark slowly rose from the ground and said that he expected more from Baldar. He was surprised that Ark was still standing, and after that I got angry from his words. Ark acquired the small grenade skill by spending the entire level. He took a big risk. If his plan failed, Baldar would kill him. Baldar stood and watched, not understanding what Ark was doing, and he already took out 3 swords. After that, he threw them towards Baldar, saying that now everything would change. Baldar easily dodged them and did not understand the point of this action. He decided that Ark had already given up and was trying to do at least something. But at that moment, Ark shouted that he hadn't been aiming at him at all. When Baldar turned around, it was already too late. The swords were in the dragon and Ark shouted for them to explode. An explosion occurred, which finished off the Destroyer of Worlds. Now he's finished, and Ark will finally be able to fight. The monster's body began to quickly disintegrate, and then the level started pouring out of it. Baldar turned his head, trying to understand what Ark had done and what that glow was. Ark absorbed the level and immediately rushed to attack. Their swords clashed, and now the real battle began. Baldar didn't understand how this was possible, since Ark was only level 21. Ark said that was the case until now. But now everything has changed a lot. Now Ark was level 301. It seems that now Baldar finally understood everything. All this time, he was wondering how Ark defeated that monster. And it was all because of his ability. Even though Ark's level was higher, Baldar continued to press him. Ark was losing badly, but what was the matter? Baldar told him not to joke with him. Even if he is 1 level higher, it does not mean that he is stronger. No level can match the combat experience of a Calamity rank adventurer. Immediately after these words, Baldar attacked Ark. All he could do was dodge while thinking of a plan. Suddenly, Ark found himself behind Baldar, but he was able to parry even such an unexpected blow. Their battle began to gain new momentum. Ark didn't care about Baldar's experience. No amount of experience will help such a worthless adventurer. He had no intention of losing. Suddenly, something changed in Baldar, and Ark felt it immediately. He admitted that Ark had pretty good armor, and then he ordered him to shut up and not say anything else. Baldar activated his special skill, Blood God Manifestation. Lightning struck from the sky, giving Baldar even more strength. It was clear from him that he had now become much stronger. Baldar began to attack Ark continuously. This skill was where his true strength lay. Now Ark was in an even more dangerous position. If he doesn't dodge now, he's definitely finished. The Blood God skill was a unique skill that could only be used once. It temporarily doubles the adventurer's strength. Now Baldar was confident of his victory. So, without thinking about anything, he rushed to attack. Suddenly, Ein entered their battle and covered Ark with his shield, after which he flew off several meters to the side.